Okay, geometry students, let's go ahead and get this finished out, okay? Special right triangles. Once again, you're dealing with right triangles, so you have the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You always have that, but let's talk about a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle, okay? This right here is the hypotenuse, this is a leg, and this is also a leg, okay? Now, we're going to have to be a little more specific here, so let me take this 30, 60, 90 over here for a second. And I'm going to call this what is called the longer leg or the long leg, and this right here is the short leg. Okay, so we have the long leg and short leg, and there are relationships between all of these sides. Okay, now let's talk about the short leg and the hypotenuse for a second. And the short leg is this: the hypotenuse is equal to 2 times the short leg. Okay, so what that means is if I had a short leg that is 4, the hypotenuse would be 8. Okay, or if I had a hypotenuse of 10, then my short leg would be 5. Or one more thing, and I know I'm kind of being redundant here, so I apologize. If the hypotenuse was 7, the short leg would be 3.5. Okay, pretty simple. Now, the relationship between the short leg and the long leg is that the long leg is equal to radical 3 times the short leg. Okay, so what that means is this: let's say I had the short leg, which was 4 units long. Okay, so if I was to convert to the short leg to the long leg, I would multiply by radical 3. So that would give me 4 radical 3. So from here, if I was to figure out the hypotenuse, then I just double it to give me 8. Okay, now remember this radical 3 can also be converted to a decimal. So if I took 4 radical 3 and multiplied this, I would get this 4 radical 3 here would get converted to 6.92. All right. So let's kind of play some more what if games for a second. All right. So let's say this long leg was. Let me kind of clear all this out. Hold on. So hopefully by now you know what the hypotenuse and the short leg and long leg is. Okay. So let's say if the long leg was 9 radical 3, then that would make my regular or my short leg 9, which makes my hypotenuse 18. Because in order to get to my long leg, I then divided by radical 3. So I'm just going to put my work right here in green off to the side. So that's 9 radical 3 divided by radical 3. Well, I just divide that out. You just get 9, and then you take 9 and 18. All right, pretty simple. Let's go ahead and dive into some problems. All right, we've already dealt with this before. Let's go to the 30, 60, 90s. Oh, here we go. 30, 60, 90s, okay? Here's our very first one, which is problem number 7. Well, based upon just identification, here's my right triangle, here's my right angle, so I know that this is the hypotenuse. So this hypotenuse, this would be right here my shorter leg or my small leg. And this right here would be my long leg. Okay. Now remember the relationships. The relationship between the hypotenuse and the small leg is that the hypotenuse is made up of 2 short legs, so that means I'm going to have to divide. So that would make, if this is 16, this would be 8, which means then I would multiply by radical 3 to get x, which is my long leg. Now remember, 8 radical 3, when I convert it to a decimal, gives me 13.85. All right, now let's look at question number 8. All right, now just identifying marks. This right here is the hypotenuse. This right here is the short leg. I'm just going to write SL for short leg, and this right here is the long leg, LL. All right, so the relationship between my short leg and hypotenuse is I'm going to double it to get 4, and the relationship between my short leg and the long leg is I'm going to multiply it by radical 3, so 2 radical 3. And you could actually leave it like that, that's okay, but if you wanted to convert it to a decimal, you would get 3.46. Okay? Moving on. Let's do a couple more. Oh, here we go. Remember, you can pause these videos and you can work through them as much as you want to. Okay. Now, question number 9 will probably be the last time that I'm actually going to label the hypotenuse and the short leg and then the long leg. And then eventually, hopefully, you get it. So, short leg to long leg would be 8 radical 3, which converts to 8 radical 3 is 13.85 again. And then the short leg to the hypotenuse, I'm going to double it to get 16. All right. Now let's look at question number 10 because that looks kind of funky because of the 8 radical 5. Well, I don't like radicals, and at this point in time we haven't really talked about them, so I'm just going to convert this to a decimal. So that's 17.88. So this is my short leg right here. So I'm going to divide it by 2, which gives me 8.9. And then I'm going to multiply it by radical 3, 8.9 radical 3, which then gives me times radical 3 gives me 15.5. We'll just say 15.5. All right, let's look at 12. Remember, pause the videos if you need to, folks. And so if you look at question number 12, that's my hypotenuse. Y is my short leg, which I'm going to make that 5 because you just divide it by 2, and then 5 radical 3. And then, of course, 5 radical 3 converts to 8.66. And hopefully you're getting it by now. Well, look at number 11. We're starting now with the long leg. Let's get to the short leg. Well, that's 5 radical 3. I would divide by radical 3 to get 5, which makes this 10. All right, so I'm just fast forwarding here. Okay, 13 is a 45, 45, 90. We don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to focus in question number 16. Question number 16, this is the long leg. So I'm going to just divide by radical 3, which I just basically eliminate the radical 3, and then A is 22. So that is the relationship between a 30, 60, 90. Well, let's look at 15. So 15, my hypotenuse is 3, and my short leg, remember, would be 1.5 because I'm halving it, and then I'm going to multiply it by radical 3 to get my long leg. So that's 1.5 radical 3, and you get roughly 2.6. Okay, that's it. All right, so that's pretty much it. So there's some more problems there. And here's your answers. And I think 7 and 8, there's our answers. Remember, these are already in radicals, so just convert them to a decimal if you need to. And then if I'm going too fast, remember, pause the video so you can look at all the answers. So that's everything. So if you have any questions, let me know. Appreciate it.